Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm headed to the location of a shooting that happened in 2004 of a teacher that was shot at Bramalea Secondary School. I wanted to get out the car to be showing you around, but it's sort of raining now. It's kind of like simmering down, so maybe I would be able to get out and walk around. It doesn't appear that there's a lot of people here right now. The schools are supposed to be closed. I don't want to be told, oh, you have to leave because it's private property. So let me go to the back entrance where there probably isn't a lot of cars. Okay, so this is Bramalea Secondary School, and I'm not sure where the shooting might have happened. I think it might be on this end here because I think it might have been on this end because I don't know if you can see that. This is where the continuing education section is, and the teacher was an ESL teacher. So I'm thinking it might have been on this end that she would have came out from, but I'll drive around and show you the entrance. And this teacher's name was Aysegul Candir. I think that's how it's pronounced. And this crime happened back on December 10th of 2004. She also went by the name of Ashley, so I'm going to be calling her Ashley for the purposes of this video, because I'm going to be butchering her name the entire time. So she had been married to her husband for about 18 years. Her husband was his name was Candir, and the two of them were originally from Turkey. It's not known whether or not they met in Canada or they were already married in Turkey and then moved here together. So they were married for 18 years. And at the time of the shooting, like I said, she was working here at Bramalea Secondary School as an ESL teacher, and he was retired. I'm not sure what kind of work he did prior to that. So Ashley had worked as a teacher in Turkey from 1980 to 1986. And you guys can see the name of the school there. It's on Balmoral Drive. But I'm going to, let me go drive around and park. And this is another entrance or exit, I guess, of the school here. And my younger brother actually went to this school way after the shooting, because like I said, the crime happened in 2004. He went here, I think, in 2015, 2016. Yeah, so I'm gonna park on this side. Okay, so let's get back to it. Okay, so now that I'm parked, I wish I could have, walked around the school, but it's very windy outside right now, and it appears that even though school is not in session, that teachers might be in there for parents to pick up, timetables and stuff like that. So as I was saying, Ashley worked as a teacher back in Turkey from 1980 to 1986. And then she had migrated to Canada. And I'm not sure if her and her husband, Erhan, had moved here together or, they met, while they were both already here individually, because they had been living in Canada for about 30 years, at the time of the shooting. And like I said, they were married for about 18 years. At some point after she arrived in Canada, she attended York University in Toronto, She graduated on the Dean's Honor List with a Bachelor of Arts in History. And in September 2000, she joined the staff at Lincoln Alexander Secondary School. I actually attended that high school, back in 2001 or something like that. And she stayed there up until about 2002, when she then transferred to this school, Bramalea Secondary School. And she seemed to be very well liked by the students, by her peers, other teachers. And she enjoyed, being an ESL teacher, English as a second language, because English was not her first language. So she understood, moving to a new country, having to learn the language, so she can relate to her students. She could have related to her students. At the time shortly before, her murder, she had lived in Bolton, Ontario, which is about 30 minutes or so, depending on what ends of the city, with her husband. And Bramalea Secondary School is in Brampton, Ontario, if I didn't mention that before. And in the weeks prior to the shooting, Erhan had traveled back to Turkey for a vacation. And about a week before the shooting, on December 2nd, while he was still there in Turkey, Ashley decided to leave. The relationship had been very troubled throughout the years. She has been recalled as telling, her friends, other co-workers, even her doctor, that he was very abusive to her, and very controlling. So she decided to leave, and the safest time for her to do so was when he was out of the country. So when she left, she had left him a goodbye letter. So when he returned on December 6th of 2004, he found that letter. And of course, he went, like I said, they were together for 18 years. He was very controlling, very abusive, and he had just lost control. So you can just imagine. It was later revealed in court that she had actually moved to a condo in Woodbridge, Ontario, that had security. So that's how scared she was of this man. She had asked the school not to list her new address in their records, just in case he tried to track her down. The only place, and after she moved, she felt safe. The only place that she felt vulnerable was here at her workplace. On the morning of the shooting, on December 10th of 2004, she had left to pick some flowers up for another coworker. I believe it's recorded that it was the coworker's birthday or something like that. So she had volunteered because that's the type of person that she was. She was a planner. She liked to plan things. So she volunteered to, assist and go out and buy the flowers. And upon her return, and unbeknownst to her, Erhan was in the school parking lot waiting for her. When she returned with the flowers, as she was about to step out of her car, he ambushed her and shot her. In some records, it says that she was shot once in the head and once in the hip. In other records, it just says that she was shot multiple times without identifying, exactly where. And after he shot her, he just calmly and casually walked back to the car. He had rented a minivan on that day. So even though she was maybe aware of her surroundings and looking around to see if he was, there, she knew what his car was, but she didn't know that he had rented a different car at the time. So that's why he got her by surprise. And like I said, after he shot her, he, got back in his car. And this man went about on his regular day like nothing happened. He went shopping for some items. He also returned a few items at, a couple stores. And then he went home. Like I said, like nothing happened. Police actually arrested him about 90 minutes later at home. And while the murder weapon was never identified, they found gunpowder residue on the steering wheel of the minivan he had rented. They found 25 bullets of the same caliber hidden in his basement. And there was evidence that some of the bullets had been inserted into a gun and then later removed. The bullets were not the same brand as the bullets that were used in the murder, but the mere fact that, they found this type of evidence at his home, this was used in his trial. And it's also alleged, like, at the court stage, that he had stalked her a few days prior to her death. There were rumors around the students that he had trespassed into the school in the days leading up to the shooting, and that they had seen him hiding out in the back hallway where her classroom was, which I think was around the entrance that I showed you when I first drove in here. But this seems like it was never reported to school authorities, because at the time it's not secured like it is now. And I wish I could walk up there and show you, but before, anybody can just walk in and walk out. Now when you walk up to the school, the doors are locked and you have to buzz in, identify to the school receptionist who you're there for, what's your name, that sort of thing, before you're let in. But the fact that she was shot outside, that likely would not have prevented, the shooting from occurring. He seemed very convinced, like he was going to get her, and sadly he did. The crime happened in 2004. He went on trial in 2007, and he was convicted of first-degree murder, sentenced to life in prison with parole eligibility after 25 years, which means he'll be out at around 88, because he was 63 at the time that this murder took place. I'm not sure of her age, but she was probably around maybe the same age, maybe in her mid 50s. So unless he's released in 15 years under the I think it's called the faint hope clause. But hopefully that doesn't happen, because the 15 years will be in 2022, next year sometime. So he did appeal his sentence in 2009, because when he got convicted, he was actually shocked, like, oh my God, I'm guilty, I'm convicted. He denied that he didn't do it, but I mean, the evidence is there. I mean, they didn't, like I said, they never found the weapon, but everything, there's a history of abuse. There's a history of stalking. He did it. He was found guilty, and I believe they have the right person, because no other person was identified at the time that would have any agenda against her. One of the things that his attorneys used in court was that initially it was identified that it was an East Indian man in his early 20s that was seen running away. But I don't know, like, sometimes when stuff like this happens, people panic, they don't remember things like it is. So I don't know where that came from, but I don't know. And it could have been a student that they saw running off. Who knows? Maybe it was a student that was in the area and heard the gunshots and they were running because they were scared for their life. Because when he shot, it's alleged that he just walked away calmly, like nothing, so no attention would be brought to him. And if you're a student in the area and you hear gunshots, of course you're going to run away. So maybe that's where that confusion came in. Who knows? But he was found guilty, sentenced, and he's currently in jail, and hopefully he stays there until the day that he passed. Because Ashley seemed like she was like I said, she was very well liked, very well loved among her students, her colleagues, very well respected. When you migrate from a different country, when you come into Canada, your credentials are not treated as the same. She went back to school. She went to university. She graduated. She loved being a teacher. She could have came here and gotten into a different field, but she loved teaching so much that she decided to remain within the same field. And her life was taken, just because she decided she no longer wanted to be with him. He no longer had control, and that upset him. So what did he do? He decided to take her life. But that's all I have on the case. And this was one of the first school shootings in Canada, I believe. Not the only one, but I think one of the first, especially back in those times. So it was Bramalea Secondary School. As you can see here, 510 Balmoral Drive. And I'm about to get out of here before somebody comes out and be like, you're trespassing, get off our property. So that's all I have on this case, guys. and I'll definitely be following up to see if he's released next year, but hopefully not. But thanks for watching. If you enjoy this type of content, be sure to like, comment, and hit that subscribe button. Let me know if you have ever heard about this case, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.